The dragon abducted her as a bride solely to produce offspring, unaware she was the little girl who saved him 10 years ago. She was the world's only saint with healing powers. While running away from home, she encountered a severely injured dragon. She couldn't bear to watch him die. As she had suffered similar pain herself, she bravely approached to check on him. The dragon instantly opened its eyes, warning her not to come closer. She pointed at its injured wing, asking, "Would you like me to heal you?" But the dragon angrily bared its fierce fangs at her. She wasn't scared at all, and she tried her best to calm the dragon, saying, "Don't worry, I'll heal you." She placed her hands on the dragon's wing and released her powerful healing ability. The dragon felt less pain than before, and its wounds began to heal slowly, but she fainted after using up all her magic power. The dragon stared at her in bewilderment, then raised its head towards the sky. As the dragon's enormous body disappeared, it transformed into a man in armor with 18-pack abs. But she missed seeing this. The man gazed at the unconscious girl, thinking, "What an unusually brave one." In her daze, she felt someone speaking and gently lifting her up. But in the end, she was sent back home. As an adult, her stepmother planned to sell her as a concubine to the old king. They dyed her jet black hair golden, but due to the poor quality hair dye, it caused red rashes all over her face. The maid desperately tried to cover it with powder. Golden-haired Lucina was actually radiant with beauty, but her stepmother said she was too ugly to look at. Worried about disappointing the king, her stepbrother jumped in to reassure his mother. "I've prepared precious jewels as her dowry. They're dug up from graves, so no one will know." But they didn't know he had excavated an ancient dragon's tomb. Just then, the roof of their house was blown off. Lucina quickly went to check the situation. Unexpectedly, outside had turned into a terrifying inferno. Countless dragons were breathing fire everywhere. People were frantically fleeing in all directions. The city gate was instantly punctured. Leading them was a masked man. But when their eyes met, Lucina crouched down in fear to hide. Thus, she missed seeing the handsome face behind the mask. "How dare you insult the ancestors of the Tyar dragon clan? Not one of you will be spared." At his command, the dragons breathed fire even more fiercely. The stepmother, terrified, quickly raised a white flag to surrender. Lucina took advantage of the chaos to escape quietly. She planned to hide in the stone tower first, then climb over the wall to escape when no one was around. But unexpectedly, to save herself, her stepmother gave her away. "Wait, I have a noble and beautiful daughter. She's so beautiful even the king wants to marry her. How about I give her to you?" The man seemed quite interested after hearing this, because she learned that the old king and King Tyar were mortal enemies. "Where is your daughter now?" Meanwhile, Lucina was struggling to climb down the 100-meter castle. She wanted to take this opportunity to escape. Suddenly, she heard the sound of flapping wings. Just as she looked up, she was grabbed by 2 giant claws. The giant dragon brought her before the king. After putting her down, the man saw her appearance clearly. He couldn't help but sneer. "She doesn't look that beautiful. I guess that old king has a peculiar taste for ugly women." But her eyes shone like stars in the night sky. He instantly remembered the little girl who saved him 10 years ago. She had the same kind of eyes. But this woman had golden hair, so he concluded she wasn't his savior. "Are you satisfied with my daughter? Give me a few more days. I'll make her even more beautiful for you, your majesty." Suddenly, a long spear was at her throat. The man gave her 2 choices: either become his companion or disappear along with everyone in this castle. She didn't want to die, so she finally agreed to marry him. The man suddenly leaned in and asked her name. After hesitating for a moment, she told him. Lucina in Brian language means moon. "The name suits you. I will cherish you." After saying this, he announced they would hold the wedding right there. He found a priest to be their officiant. After the wedding, he told the priest to inform the old king that his new bride had been taken away by his enemy, Haken. If the old king heard this news, he would surely be furious enough to spit blood. The priest tremblingly performed the vows for the two. Hakan, seeing how dismal the wedding atmosphere was, ordered someone to go pick some wildflowers. He handed the gathered flowers to Lucina. "Though the venue isn't great, we should still have some ceremony, right?" She hurriedly reached out with trembling hands to accept the bouquet. "You look much better now. Let's begin then." The priest stammered through the wedding vows for the newlyweds. "Now, the groom may kiss the bride." Hearing this, Lucina shook like a sieve. He glanced at the frightened little rabbit beside him, bent down and embraced his bride. She just stared at him blankly. "Close your eyes." Then he slowly leaned in. The man seemed reluctant to let go. Unexpectedly, Lucina fainted the next second. He couldn't help but find it amusing. He picked up his sleeping bride and mounted his horse. "Since they're my wife's relatives, I'll spare their lives for now." With that, he left with Lucina. When she woke up, she found herself in a carriage. The subordinate quickly reported this good news to his king. But when she made eye contact with her new husband, she couldn't help but shiver. To take care of her, Hakan ordered to stop and set up camp. He came to Lucina's carriage and asked if she was feeling better. Much better." He reached out his hand to take her to eat something. However, she said she wasn't hungry. "I'll just stay in the carriage." But her growling stomach betrayed her. Lie was exposed on the spot, causing her to blush with embarrassment. This made the man burst into hearty laughter. "At least come out to warm yourself by the fire." He gave her an out. Lucina no longer refused. She took Hakan's hand and got off the carriage. After dismissing his subordinates, he invited his wife to sit in his tent. As soon as they sat down, he took off his own cloak and thoughtfully draped it over Lucina to keep her warm. Lucina felt a warmth in her heart. Hakan handed her a fragrant piece of bread. At the Baron's house, she only ate moldy, stale food. She couldn't help but greedily inhale the bread's aroma. However, in Hakan's eyes, this behavior was interpreted as, "Could she be worried that I've poisoned the food?" Seeing the man's expression change, she hurriedly stuffed the bread into her mouth. The deliciousness of the food shocked her taste buds. It was so good, even her hair seemed to stand on end. Then she began to devour it ravenously. The man told her to eat slowly, be careful not to choke. He thoughtfully handed her a cup of fresh goat's milk. In the castle, she had to work all day just to get some crumbs to eat. But here, she could eat delicious food without doing anything. When he asked about her age, because her mouth was busy, she could only hold up 2 fingers to him. This is way too young. So he started cursing the old king for his unethical deeds. Not only did he send people to kill young dragons, but he also caused him to lose his only brother. Do you regret not being able to marry the old king as a concubine? She quickly shook her head. He just hadn't expected that not only did she not cry or make a fuss, but she eagerly asked him what kind of place Tyar was. There are rumors that Tyar is a barbaric land, but it's not actually like that. You'll know once you get there. Seeing she had finished eating, Hakan handed her another piece of bread. Perhaps living with him would be better than in that house. The man told her to bear with it for now. When we get back to the palace, there will be proper food. But for her, the bread was already the most delicious thing she'd ever eaten. This made Hakan wonder, is a noble lady so easily satisfied? Lucina ate 10 pieces of bread in one go. Her stomach was full and she felt very satisfied. After she finished, he told her to go rest. She turned around and wrapped herself up. "I'll go stay outside." He smiled and said, "No need, we're married now. So from now on, we'll sleep together every day." She had heard that dragon customs involved having children before marriage. Lucina was so scared she started crying. Tears flowed freely down her cheeks. These tears struck the man's heartstrings. He gently comforted her, asking her not to cry anymore. "Is marrying me worse than being that old king's concubine?" She said she was just a bit scared. Hakan instantly understood. After all, a wife forced to leave her family and marry into the dragon clan must be terrified and uneasy inside. He reassured her, promising he wouldn't do anything. "You get some rest. I'll sleep outside for the night." Seeing their king come out, his subordinate asked, "Why did you leave your new bride?" He had even set up a tent for them to spend their wedding night. Unexpectedly, the king spoke up for Lucina, telling him to show more respect to her. He was surprised that the king had pardoned the people in the castle for her sake, because seeing her reminded him of the little girl who saved him 10 years ago. He urged the king to try harder, to bear the responsibility of continuing the dragon lineage. The next morning, Lucina woke up and went to the river to wash her face. After the makeup on her face came off, the red rashes had become even worse. She hesitated whether to heal herself first. Thinking about consummating the marriage, she decided not to heal the rashes. If Håkon saw it, he might lose interest. Suddenly, she heard footsteps behind her. She thought it was Håkon, but a claw came at her instead. It turned out her stepmother had sent someone to bring her back. She didn't want to go back. She had just escaped from there. When they noticed the red rashes on Lucina's face, they wondered if it was a contagious disease. Just as they were about to throw her away, a sharp arrow flew towards them. Håkon quickly surrounded them. The bald man suddenly held a knife to her throat. Don't come any closer, or this woman's life is forfeit." Håkon told Lucina to close her eyes. She obediently shut them immediately. The next second, the bald man was beheaded. Instantly, a strong smell of blood spread. She trembled, not daring to move. When she heard a Lucina, she dared to slowly open her eyes. She saw the man's worried face. Strangely, she didn't feel scared, but rather felt at ease. Håkon lifted her off the horse, cut the ropes binding her hands, and thoughtfully draped his clothes over her to keep her warm. His hand touched her burning forehead. He realized Lucina was sick. He blamed himself for coming too late. "I'm sorry. You must have been terrified." For the first time, she experienced what it felt like to be cared for. She couldn't help but choke up with tears. "I'm all right now." Håkon instructed his subordinates to prepare a campfire and hot water for Lucina first. At that moment, she wanted to live with this man forever. Back in the tent, she found that the rashes on her face had become even worse. It might be because her body was sick. She hadn't treated the rashes earlier because she didn't want to consummate the marriage. 9:05. But remembering his gentleness and care in the forest, her heart was gradually wavering. She felt being with him might not be so bad after all. "Don't heal yourself yet." Suddenly, a voice interrupted her thoughts. She turned to see a tiny figure talking to her. "I'm Puka, a forest spirit. Are you the rain-bringing dwarf spirit?" Hearing this, the spirit pouted in dissatisfaction. He was considered the tallest among his kind. He could sense the healing power within Lucina. He warned her not to let others discover it. Once word got out, those bad people will swarm around you like ants. The little spirit followed her every day. He found it strange that she spoke so little. But once they became familiar, he opened up and started chatting. "I once saw a dragon before. I used my healing ability to cure him." Due to Håkon's arrival, the little spirit quickly hid. But when he saw Lucina's face, his eyes widened in shock. From then on, everyone thought she had smallpox. To avoid sleeping with the dragon, she hadn't healed the rashes on her face. Unexpectedly, everyone mistook it for a contagious disease. All the people avoided her. Only Håkon cared about her condition. Turan quickly pulled Håkon away. "Young master, you'll die if you get infected. Her symptoms are the same as those sick people. This isn't a disease." Nervous, she stammered through her explanation. Suddenly, a sharp sword was pointed at her face, warning her not to come closer. Just when no one believed her, only Håkon stood up for her. He ordered Turan to lower his sword, letting Lucina finish what she was saying. Although she mustered up the courage to explain, she still spoke incoherently. This reminded her of her childhood when she tried to defend herself, only to be beaten severely by her stepmother. That's why she developed a stutter when nervous. Anyway, no one was willing to listen. She gave up the chance to explain herself. The crowd angrily declared they couldn't let her off. At this rate, she would surely lose her life. Just as she was about to use her healing power to cure the rashes, she remembered the little spirit's warning. She absolutely couldn't use her holy power, otherwise she'd be coveted by those bad people. As she hesitated, "Lucina, don't rush. Calm down. Speak slowly until I understand. She told Turan it wasn't a contagious disease. People with contagious diseases would lose their appetite due to vomiting, but Lucina had a good appetite. She even ate 10 pieces of bread in one go. That's true, Haken pieced together from her jumbled words. The old king liked blonde hair. Your mother used a hair dye made from sulfur to dye your hair blonde. Yes, that's right. Because the hair dye was toxic, it caused you to have an allergic rash. Her scalp and forehead were the most severely affected. If Lucina had that disease, since I've kissed her, shouldn't I be put to death as well? You shouldn't tease us like that. We believe she doesn't have that disease. Haken was the first person to listen to her so attentively. At this moment, she felt a warmth in her heart. But just then, they found out who was behind Lucina's kidnapping. It turned out the Baroness wanted to get her daughter back. Haken's face darkened. He prepared to go teach them a lesson. Unexpectedly, Lucina stopped him. She was worried that innocent residents would be implicated. Haken hadn't expected her to care about others first, rather than her own family. Her heart skipped a beat. If he found out she was an illegitimate child, he would surely send her back to the Baron's family. So she begged him not to harm her family. Haken felt sorry for her being ill, and gently picked her up. If I spare your family, what will you do for me? Hearing this, she froze. She said she would do whatever he asked, but seeing those bright eyes, he was reminded of the little girl who saved him 10 years ago. He couldn't bring himself to take advantage, but still couldn't resist teasing her. Did you really mean what you just promised? She felt uneasy in her heart. Then let's share a kiss. Hearing such an outrageous request, she was stunned. But words once spoken are like water spilled, she couldn't shamelessly take them back. Seeing his expectant gaze, her heart couldn't help but race. She closed her eyes, and without thinking, leaned in. Satisfied, the man hugged her with her flushed face. Then he ordered his subordinates, "If they dare touch my new bride again, I will show no mercy." After Lucina took the fever medicine, to let her rest easy, Haken gave her the tent, while he went outside to stand guard alone. Watching him happily hum a tune as he walked out, she wondered if their recent intimacy had put him in a good mood. But her face was now covered in ugly rashes. All night long, Haken stayed by her side, taking care of her. So the next day, her fever subsided smoothly. They immediately set out in the carriage. Soon, they arrived at the beautiful and prosperous Tyar Palace. As soon as Lucina got off the carriage, the rashes on her face immediately caused a stir among the crowd. Everyone suspected she was ill. Suddenly, a person wearing an ox skull bowed to Haken. It turned out to be the priest. She curiously looked at that person. Unexpectedly, the priest's eyes were also fixed on her. "You've brought back the essence of the earth." Then he dipped his hand in some water. Seeing this ugly face could even make the neighbor's child cry with envy. Lucina was also startled. She hurriedly hid behind Haken. The man lovingly stroked her head, explaining that this was to purify any misfortune on newcomers. "He's not trying to harm you, so don't be afraid." Hearing this, she lowered her guard. Then she heard the priest chanting in a bird-like language, "Mari Mari Hon," and instantly, holy water splashed all over her face. She felt the rashes on her face subside a little. The purification ritual ended quickly. Haken brought Lucina to the palace. "My king!" Suddenly, a woman flew towards them. She tightly hugged Haken. With tears in her eyes, she said, "Those terrible grave robbers must have witnessed your might. I'm so proud of you." Lucina thought the woman was incredibly beautiful. Haken pushed the woman away, exchanging a few polite words. However, he didn't intend to let Lucina off. "Is she a war trophy? Are all Bryan women this ugly?" She was about to retort, when the man suddenly put his arm around her shoulders. "She is the companion I brought back." At this, the woman's face turned sour. He announced on the spot that if Lucina bore his children, she would become the queen. "My king, are you serious? Do you know this woman has sulfur pus on her body?" Unexpectedly, Haken looked worried, first asking about her health condition. It turned out the hair dye was fading. Hakan discovered her original hair color was silver, but she persisted. Can she handle the duties I've been bearing before? Lucina didn't understand what responsibilities. She mocked Lucina's frail body, saying it couldn't possibly handle marital duties, while she herself was different. As the former king's consort, she could certainly handle the young, strong brother-in-law. Hakan called over a young maid, Titi, telling her to focus on serving Lucina from now on. New to this place, she was curious about everything. Titi answered all her questions. She finally understood that the duty Garrett mentioned was bearing children. Only by giving birth to 99 dragon children could she officially become queen. Since coming into contact with the holy water, not only did the hair dye fade, but even the rashes on her face subsided somewhat. So she eagerly asked the young maid to bring more holy water. She quickly ran off to prepare it. At that moment, a snow-white bird flew towards her. She couldn't help but reach out to stroke it. Surprised, she found it was a talking bird. It was a chattering chickadee. The originally cute bird transformed into a white-haired little spirit in the blink of an eye. It turned out to be Puka transformed into a chickadee. The little spirit had been secretly following Lucina out of concern. When he saw that she had followed his advice and hadn't used her healing power, he finally felt relieved. She confided in the little creature, saying that compared to living in Velk, she liked it better here. Hakan was the only person in the world who was kindest to her. Aren't you afraid of bearing his children? At first, she was a bit scared, but now she had overcome her psychological barrier. Shortly after, Titi quickly returned, reporting that the king had agreed to her using the holy water. Please follow me this way. Meanwhile, a subordinate brought news to Hakan. It turned out that 10 years ago, dragon slayers came to kill their young dragons. To protect everyone, his brother sacrificed his own life, so he went to seek revenge, filled with anger. Unexpectedly, during the pursuit, he was shot by a poisoned black arrow. On the verge of death, he was saved by a black-haired little girl. If it wasn't for her, he wouldn't have been able to return alive. At that time, he only noticed that her face was not only swollen, but her clothes were also tattered. She must have been a commoner's daughter. But those shining black eyes were still vivid in his memory. They were very similar to Lucina's bright eyes. But she had jet-black golden hair. The seed of doubt had been planted in his heart. He immediately ordered his subordinates to investigate Lucina's identity to find out if she was really the Baron's biological daughter. As a noble lady, her relationship with her family was very distant. Having just finished giving all his orders, he was eager to take a relaxing hot spring bath. Hearing this, he hesitated, wanting to say that Lucina was also there. But he decided against it, choosing to give his king an unexpected surprise. Meanwhile, under the blessing of the holy water, Lucina's jet-black golden hair faded, revealing her original lustrous silver hair. She surfaced from the water, letting out a comfortable sigh. Not only had the poor quality hair dye been washed away, but even the rashes on her face had disappeared. Moreover, her skin was now more bouncy and delicate than before. Unexpectedly, she heard footsteps at that moment. To her surprise, it was Hakan. She was so frightened she immediately covered her mouth. She watched helplessly as the man slowly entered the water. Panicked, she didn't know what to do. What should she do? She was trapped here with no way out. She had only wanted to take a bath but accidentally encountered the Dragon King. Watching him enter the water, she covered her eyes in fright. However, the man's sharp eyes had already noticed her. He wondered why a woman was hiding here. He mistakenly thought Turan had brought back a little fairy to help him produce an heir quickly. He angrily strode towards the woman. Lucina's heart was in her throat with fear. She was currently naked. Seeing him approaching step by step, she unhesitatingly sank into the water, hoping to slip away unnoticed. Hakan saw her comical dog-paddling escape attempt and became even angrier. How dare she ignore his authority? He quickly grabbed her. Unexpectedly, he lost his balance, and they both fell. Just as he was about to teach her a lesson, he was stunned by her appearance. Who is this beautiful woman? With jet-black silver hair and eyes that sparkled like moonlight, she seemed familiar. In an instant, he recognized her as Lucina. Her original hair color was actually silver. With her golden hair faded, she looked very similar to the little girl who saved him 10 years ago. but he quickly dismissed this thought. Seeing Hawken's serious expression, she suddenly knelt down, repeatedly begging him not to hit her. The girl's trembling appearance would make anyone's heart ache. Hawken knelt on one knee, thoughtfully draping clothes over her. In my palace, who would dare lay a hand on the king's companion? Assured that he really wouldn't hit her, she finally relaxed. Her maid had only requested to use the holy water. She didn't expect him to bathe directly. She had been quite startled earlier. He comfortingly patted her head and gently wiped away the tears from her eyes. From now on, you'll be the mistress of this palace. Don't be so subservient to me anymore. From this, he confirmed Lucina wasn't the little girl from 10 years ago. That girl had been very brave, not afraid even when she saw a dragon. Most importantly, Lucina didn't have healing powers. Noticing they were too close, she shyly tried to escape. He gave a meaningful smile and the next second pulled her back. You don't seem to be finished bathing. She hurriedly denied it. Won't you wait for me? Then he picked her up. She naively asked where we were going. Learning it was the bedchamber, she felt she couldn't escape this time. Though reluctant, she didn't refuse. However, Hawken gave her ample time to prepare herself properly. Titi was genuinely happy for her. But two troublemakers instilled fear in Lucina. They mocked that her small frame surely couldn't handle it, while Titi kept encouraging her, believing she would successfully bear dragon children. She quickly protected her mistress from these women's slanderous rumor, but she took their words to heart. Would Haken hit her? After some preparation, Lucina looked radiant. The man was stunned by her appearance. He eagerly beckoned her over. He admiringly caressed her jet-black silver hair. Such beautiful hair was hidden by that awful dye. This was the first time she heard someone praise her. May I kiss you? The man whispered in her ear. She froze for 3 seconds, then shook her little head vigorously. Seeing her adorable reaction, he couldn't help but smile. Then he placed a gentle kiss on her lips. Haken pleaded with her not to run away tonight. Stay with him. The man's strong arms embraced her. Her heart raced, realizing what was about to happen. Recalling what the two women had said earlier, she worried that if she got beaten, her life might be in danger. So she trembled like a sieve in fear. Seeing this, the man didn't go any further, not understanding what was wrong with her. Was he angry? Hawken explained that he wasn't angry. Do you want to go back to family? I don't want to go back. I'm your partner now. She promised to bear dragon children and become Tayar's princess. Finally, he stated he wouldn't share a bed until Lucina was ready. After that day, she became the laughingstock of the entire empire. Although she heard others' comments about her, she didn't care. However, overhearing rumors about Haken shocked her greatly. The king is indeed going to marry Lady Garrett. After all, marrying your brother's widow is common in Tayar. Since that day, Lucina had been gloomy. Just then, Titi reported that Hawken had returned to the palace. She couldn't wait to find him and ask for clarification. Who knew she'd encounter Garrett on the way? Oh, your hair color changed. I almost didn't recognize you. Upon learning that Lucina was coldly treated on her wedding night, Garrett couldn't be more arrogant. She even mocked Lucina's small frame to her face, suggesting she'd better run away now, but Lucina didn't understand the meaning behind her words. Seeing this, Garrett gleefully told her the truth. The Tayar Palace is a graveyard for women. Few can survive bearing the dragon's fortune. Just then, Haken appeared and interrupted Garrett enthusiastically approached to chat. Unexpectedly, she was directly ignored by the man. His eyes were only on his wife beside him. Lucina, come here. The Holy Maiden will die after giving birth to 9 dragon children. But she's not afraid at all. He even looks excited. In the dragon clan, whoever gives birth to dragon children will definitely become the queen. But ordinary women can't bear the dragon's fortune. He and Lucina haven't shared a bed yet. On one side is his most beloved person, on the other is the continuation of the dragon clan. Since his brother's sacrifice, the burden of protecting the dragon bloodline fell on him. The clan members always try to match him with his sister-in-law, but now he's very sure he doesn't like Garrett, unable to withstand Turan's daily urging. Frustrated, He snuck into Lucina's room late at night with alcohol. She was surprised by Haakon's arrival after holding back for many days. At this moment, seeing his long-missed wife, he finally couldn't bear it anymore. He cupped her face and kept looking at her. The more he looked, the more he liked her. He couldn't help but give her a French kiss. Surprisingly, this time she wasn't scared. She even responded passionately. But she stopped at the crucial moment. "Are you really prepared to sacrifice for Tayar?" Although not very clear. What concerned her more was this question. "Do you think I'm cute? Isn't that obvious?" "Everyone thinks you're cute." This was the first time she heard such words. The atmosphere between them gradually escalated, just as they were about to go further. Who knew her mind was filled with rumors about Hagen and his sister-in-law? Maybe he and Garrett have done these things too. Thinking of this, she suddenly pushed him away. The man was instantly bewildered. He asked in confusion. She mustered up the courage to ask the question hidden in her heart. "Do you like Garrett?" "They all say you're going to marry her." However, the man's face immediately darkened. Why care about what others say? But Lucina continued to press for answers. "Did you have a crush on Garrett?" Hakon's brow furrowed at that. He didn't understand why during their first time. She kept mentioning that woman. Seeing that Hakon didn't deny it, she felt even more jealous. "You saying I'm cute is all lies. You actually like her more than me, don't you?" He hated it most when people linked Garrett with him, especially when his own wife didn't trust him. He thought she was making excuses not to be the queen. He didn't even try to comfort her anymore. Angry, he turned and walked away. She was about to explain, but he had already stormed off in anger. The king left that woman again. I heard she was so scared she directly refused. Hearing the good news, Garrett was very happy. The woman personally chosen by the king is nothing special. He'll soon lose interest in her. It won't be long before he turns to me. I'll soon have the position of queen in my grasp. Her misplaced confidence was that he liked her. It was just that damned guilt towards his elder brother that made him keep avoiding me. She immediately summoned Lucina. The royal banquet was about to begin. Poor thing, she had no proper gown to wear. Kindly, she gave her a set of gorgeous robes. It was obvious she had ill intentions. Sure enough, it was a pale, ghastly mourning dress, and mocking her for not wanting to share a bed with the king. "Aren't you just missing your hometown relatives? As long as you wear that gift, the king will understand your intentions and let you leave." Her love rival wanted her to make a fool of herself in public. She sent a pale, ghastly mourning dress for her to wear to the banquet. Who knew that after the crazy old lady's alterations, she stunned everyone in a snow-white gauze dress. Looking at Lucina in the mirror, Titi was furious. "If you wear this mourning dress to the banquet, the king will surely misunderstand that you blame him for killing your people." She understood in her heart. Hakon might not come to see her again. In serious cases, he might even send her back to her hometown, just when she couldn't think of any useful solution. An old lady barged in with a ragged doll. As soon as she came in, she criticized the ugly mourning dress and boldly claimed she would help transform it. Lucina wore it beautifully to the banquet, stunning everyone, on the condition that she gets good food. But they had no idea who she was. Who knew her next move would leave them dumbfounded? She lay on the ground, throwing a tantrum. "I'm hungry! Food! I want food!" Meanwhile, Garrett was looking for the missing old lady, learning she was causing trouble in Lucina's room. She instructed not to report this to the king. After eating her fill, the old lady kept her promise and started working. She wielded the scissors randomly, with a snip. Both mistress and servant trembled. She promised confidently, as long as she wears the outfit she transformed, the man Lucina likes will definitely fall for her. Meanwhile, Garrett witnessed everything happening in the room. She was gleefully schadenfreude, not believing a crazy old lady could turn such an ugly mourning dress into anything decent. When Lucina put it on, she covered herself up tightly. Is this really appropriate?" Titi tried her best to pull off the blanket. "It's already much better than before." The moment the blanket was pulled off, Lucina was radiantly beautiful. The black gauze dress accentuated her figure, subtly revealing, like she was wrapped in a mysterious veil, inviting imagination. The palace banquet officially began. Hakan waited and waited, but Lucina didn't show up. Garrett seized the opportunity to drive a wedge between them, stating directly that Lucina was unwilling to see the king. Hakan didn't fall for it, but not seeing his beloved wife, he felt a bit depressed and raised his glass of wine. Seeing her plan to prevent Lucina from attending the banquet succeeded, she excitedly took off her cape, personally offering a dance for Hakan. Misplaced confidence that he would be captivated by her, but he was like an old monk in meditation, not even glancing at her, only focused on the wine in his hand. When he was slightly tipsy, he recalled scenes of his brother falling for Garrett. That girl was as dazzling as a red rose, once infatuated, impossible to break free until death. As a child, his brother was his idol, and he admired everything about his brother, wanting to possess everything he had: his power, throne, even his wife. He had countless fantasies of ascending to that supreme position, possessing everything his brother had. But until that time, his brother sacrificed himself to save him. On his deathbed, he was still worried about Garrett. Learning his brother truly loved her, his heart was filled with guilt, making him give up this desire from then on. Her rival made her wear a mourning dress to the banquet. Who knew she would stun everyone in a white gown? Even the Dragon King who abandoned her on their wedding night couldn't take his eyes off her. Lucina was so beautiful, completely different from usual. She had just rushed to attend the banquet, but was stopped by the doorkeeper, saying she couldn't enter without wearing clothes bestowed by the former queen. Titi explained this was indeed the princess's gift, just slightly altered. The doorkeeper, learning she was an unfavored woman and coldly treated twice on her wedding night, became even more arrogant and pushed them down, fiercely telling her to stop shamelessly trying to enter. Titi worried. What if the king misunderstood if Lucina didn't enter the banquet hall? She had no choice but to summon the little fairy Puka, asking for his help. Meanwhile, Hakan was waiting for his wife so long that the flowers were about to wilt. Not knowing his wife was being bullied outside the door, the person behind blocking Lucina was actually Garrett, with the eyesore gone. She had the chance to show off in front of the king, smugly, twisting in that ugly dance, making the man nauseous. He instantly spat out the wine in his mouth. He couldn't help but recall when his brother just passed away. Garrett couldn't wait to seduce him. He directly and firmly refused. His brother had loved her so much. But she didn't care. Whoever was the supreme king, she'd love him. As long as she could successfully become the queen, that's all that mattered. At this moment, he was disgusted to the point of constipation. Only now did he see Garrett's true nature. Back then he had truly been blind. It's such a headache. But when he looked up, he saw a beautiful fairy walking towards him in the moonlight. A snow-white gauze dress accentuated her subtly revealed graceful figure, surrounded by colorful butterflies. Isn't this his ugly wife? She was as beautiful as a fairy who had escaped from the moon. Hakan stared in amazement. Even his headache was cured. As soon as she appeared, she captured everyone's attention. This was thanks to Puka's help. He threw poop on the doorkeeper's face, allowing her to sneak in during the chaos. She curtsied to Hakan as she had practiced. Her graceful and confident manner was nothing like her previous timid self. Was this still the Lucina he knew? Meanwhile, Garrett was in the crowd, nearly going mad with jealousy. She could only vent her anger on an unfortunate servant. The man said with a red face, You're late." Titi hurriedly explained. They were delayed by an incident on the way. At this moment, Hakan noticed the bruise on her hand. He quickly came over to check. It was quite a big bruise. He was extremely distressed. Titi seized the chance to tattle. The guard said she couldn't enter without wearing clothes bestowed by the former queen. He looked at Garrett with a gloomy face. She was instantly frightened. Before the truth was revealed, she quickly found a scapegoat, slapping the guard hard on the face. "How dare you slander me? It was clearly you who blocked the king's woman." She then turned to explain to Hakan. "It's just a misunderstanding. Please let him off." But he had no intention of letting those who bullied Lucina off easily. "You dare to touch my partner. You must be tired of living." The next moment, he drew his sword. Only the kind-hearted Lucina pleaded with Hakan, saying she was fine now. "In this palace, no one but me can touch your—" After saying this, he embraced his wife tightly. Lucina was deeply moved, her heart suddenly racing. At this moment, Garrett finally stepped forward to hypocritically plead. Unexpectedly, Hakan directly questioned her. "Was it your order not to let Lucina into the banquet hall?" Exposed, she forced a smile and explained, "I would never do such a thing. I guess we can only ask the king to punish this insubordinate fellow." He told Lucina to cover her eyes and ears. Then, with one sword stroke, he sent him to heaven. Afterwards, he carried his wife back to their room and instructed others not to disturb their good time. Next was the couple's private world. Hakan first apologized to her. The reason he hadn't come to see her these days was because when they were together, they would mention having dragon children. But he was afraid his wife would lose her life because of this. If she learned that having dragon children posed such a big risk, she might leave him in such hesitation and wavering. He had been putting off coming to explain Lucina also wanted to apologize to him, but fearing her clumsy words might anger him again. Hakan promised her, if she was unwilling, he would never force her. But Lucina said she wanted to be with him. She wanted to get to know him better, to determine if he was worth having dragon children for. The man was overjoyed after hearing this. The misunderstanding was finally cleared. He caressed his wife's face, praising her for how beautiful her dress was today, but not to wear it again in the future. She didn't understand, because I don't want other men to see you like this. After saying this, they gazed at each other lovingly. Then he lowered his eyes and leaned in. Sensing his wife's resistance, he nervously thought she didn't like it. "That's not it. I just want to talk with you properly today." He smiled and agreed, finding his wife's little punches very cute. Then they sat down face to face, starting to talk about life and dreams. She first poured herself a drink, mustering up courage to start asking questions. "How old are you?" "About 27 in human years." Hakan seriously answered his wife's question. "I want to know what you like." "Of course, it's you." "This man, why doesn't he answer the question properly?" Annoyed, she poured herself another drink. He suggested playing a small game of question and answer. If you don't want to answer, drink instead. Who knew the first question he asked was, what type of man she liked? She instantly froze on the spot. He gave examples of a few types. Good physique, wealthy, gentle, and affectionate. Hakan fit all of these criteria. Does she have to directly say she likes him? In the end, she chose to down the drink. Next, it was Lucina's turn. She returned the question to him. "What kind of woman do you like?" Warning him to answer honestly. No cheating. He had always wanted to find a woman who only loved him, not because of power or status. Through this method, they learned a lot about each other. Now Lucina, through daily training, could smoothly converse with others in the palace. Great, Hakan praised, patting her head completely opposite from her previous timid appearance. He wondered if her personality was due to childhood abuse. "Did your family ever beat you as a child?" After hesitating for a moment, she chose not to answer. "This question doesn't count. It should be my turn to ask you." She cleverly used this trick to evade. "What do you think of me?" "I like you, and feel I like you more and more as I look at you. I want to grow old with you, and hold you, as we fall asleep every night." The Dragon King had finally waited to share a room with his wife, who knew at the crucial moment. His wife would drop the ball. In her dream, she was hugging a big, smooth red apple. Wow, just as she was about to take a big bite. She realized she was hugging Hakan's big peck. That hard and salty thing nearly chipped her tooth. Realizing what she had done, she fearfully scooted back a few times. "What? What's going on? My head hurts so much." She suddenly remembered drinking and chatting with Hakan last night. He had even confessed his feelings to her. Then Hakan naturally embraced her. Just as he was about to go further, who knew she'd be drooling in Hakan's arms, fast asleep. He gently covered the sleeping Lucina with a blanket, looking at the little cat seeking warmth and snuggling into his arms. He smiled helplessly, yet lovingly. In the end, he only kissed her forehead, and they slept in each other's arms, not waiting for Hakan to wake up. She hurriedly ran away in a panic. Titi and Taran had been guarding outside the door. She was worried that Lucina hadn't come out for so long. Could something have happened? Taran quickly interrupted when he heard this. Just then, Lucina stumbled out. The two immediately rushed over to greet her. "Are you all right?" "Titi, don't shout so loud. I'm in so much pain." Hearing this, she became even more nervous, asking where it hurt and how it hurt. "It's sore and painful. I can barely walk. That must too many times." But these two misunderstood. The innocent girl thought they meant the wine. Indeed, it was many times, 3 or 4 times, I think. Hearing this, the two became even more excited. "So many times, and you're still alive. Lady Lucina, you're amazing. The Dragon Clan is finally saved. We must serve well, the lady who will bring prosperity to the Dragon Clan. Please be careful of the stairs." Meanwhile, Garrett learned that Lucina had stayed in the king's chambers all night. She was so angry her mouth twisted. While Hakan woke up humming happily, his whole being was radiant, looking just like a man immersed in love. Narcissistically looking at his perfect 18-pack abs in the mirror, he boasted to Taran Lucina praised me for not only having a good body, but also being handsome. By the way, she was really amazing last night. Not only as beautiful as the moon goddess, but also as brave as a warrior. Taran happily shed tears. "Your Majesty, well done." He asked where his wife had gone. Titi took her to soak in the hot springs. "Why don't you join them, Your Majesty? It'll help relieve the fatigue from last night." Hearing this, his face turned red, pretending to be serious. "All right, I'll go finish what I didn't say last night." Hakan shyly came to the bathroom, staring at the expanse of white before him, but not seeing his wife. After looking around, he found his wife had already finished bathing. He felt a bit disappointed. Did I come too late? Lucina noticed Hakan's arrival and smiled sweetly. Like a little magpie, she happily flew to the man's side. He lovingly patted her head. Finding his wife's hair wet, he volunteered to help her dry it. Titi quickly handed over a towel. Very tactfully, she didn't want to be a third wheel for the couple. She respectfully retreated outside. After sitting down, he immediately beckoned his wife over. Where should I sit?" There really wasn't an extra chair. "Sitting on my lap is fine." Hearing this, she was obviously stunned, but she still walked over with a red face. She closed her eyes tightly and sat down. "Don't you like it?" "That's not it." Hearing the satisfactory answer, he gently dried Lucina's wet hair, asking if she felt unwell from drinking too much last night. "I feel much better after soaking in the holy water." Faced with his shy wife, fresh out of the bath, he couldn't control himself and pulled her into his arms. "If I can't see you for a moment, I'll go crazy missing you. I want to be with you every moment." Her heart couldn't help but race uncontrollably because of this. Lucina could feel Hakan's genuine feelings. After saying this, they gazed at each other lovingly. The atmosphere gradually intensified. The next second, she took the initiative and kissed him. "I'm always thinking of you too." Hearing his wife's response, he happily curled his lips. But at the same time, he was deeply worried. She had been forced by him brought to this strange place, yet she entrusted her heart to him so quickly. Was it because her past life was too bitter? He felt sorry for Lucina's childhood experiences, so he planned to be honest with her tonight. But having dragon children might cost her life. Hakan saw that. Titi took very good care of Lucina, so he rewarded her with a gold nugget. Then he announced to everyone that he would have dinner with Lucina in the royal chambers tonight, and it would be like this every day from now on. He took his wife's hand and kissed the back of it. "I'll see you tonight, back in the royal chambers." Titi was overjoyed with the gold nugget reward. She could finally pay her siblings' school fees. With last night's experience, she believed Lucina would do even better. she would work even harder. She dressed her up beautifully. Just then, a white bird flew in through the window. It was the fairy Puka. To thank her for the help at the banquet, he brought her a bag of peanut shells to eat. The human and bird started chatting without any barriers. Meanwhile, Garrett was furious to learn that Lucina would be with Hakan tonight. She pondered what method to use to stop her. So she summoned a man. When dinner time came, Hakan was fretting over how to be honest with his wife later. But at that moment, Lucina appeared in an elegant black outfit, so beautiful that Hakan stared in amazement. He quickly invited his wife to sit down and eat. I don't know if it suits your taste, but she directly hugged him without a word. She kissed him hard on the lips. I missed you, Hakan. The man was a bit surprised by Lucina's directness. Didn't we just see each other this morning? But now it's evening, faced with her passionate affection. Hakan was very happy, so he decided to tell her about the curse of dying after having dragon children. But just as he was about to speak, a servant suddenly burst in. My king, something terrible has happened. It turned out Hakan's mother had suddenly had an emotional breakdown, clinging to the late king's body and refusing to let go. He had no choice but to rush over. Before leaving, he told Lucina to rest first. They would talk another time. It turned out this was all Garrett's scheme. The curse of dying after having dragon children was also her doing. They were originally a pair of siblings from the slums. The sister worked to support her brother's education, to repay his sister's kindness. He used the knowledge he gained to harm others so that his sister could successfully become the princess. But unfortunately, her husband and son both died in the war. Now she had set her sights on Hakan, who became the new king. She absolutely couldn't let Lucina have dragon children, but he didn't want to help his sister harm people anymore. He advised her to stop and turn back while she still could. Unexpectedly, this earned him a wine glass to the head. My dear brother, who worked hard to raise you. If it weren't for me, you'd be dead long ago. It was because he helped his sister harm people. Every time he cast a spell, it backfired on him. He was cursed with heart attacks. Garrett thought it was just an excuse and didn't pay attention. She just wanted him to quickly get rid of Lucina. Just after casting the spell, he felt an intense pain in his heart. Unable to bear it, he fainted. On her way back to the palace, Lucina happened to encounter Jira collapsed on the ground. She found his heart had stopped. If not treated promptly, he would lose his life. She was troubled that her healing powers couldn't be known by others. Never mind, saving a life was more important. After successfully sending Titi away, she finally used her unknown healing power, but he fell into a nightmare to protect his sister. All the bad deeds he had committed weighed heavily on him. He did this only because he didn't want to be abandoned by his sister. But in the end, he had to bear all the responsibility himself. Suddenly, a gentle force eased the pain in his heart, like a sacred moonlight shining on his heart. When he opened his eyes again, he saw a girl with black hair. He couldn't believe he was still alive. He clearly felt his heart stop beating and was about to die. He turned to look at the girl beside him. "Did you save me?" She quickly denied it, claiming she had only stayed by his side. He became suspicious. Even the elixirs his sister had given him before couldn't cure him, so it could only be... He suddenly grabbed Lucina's hand tightly. "Do you have healing powers? I've heard that the Pope of Velk has the power to bring people back from the dead. You have that ability too, aren't you?" She didn't expect him to guess everything correctly. She panicked and broke free from his grasp. She insisted that she had only stayed by his side, nothing more. He was certain she had just used healing powers. If he could have this human, he wouldn't have to suffer from heart attacks anymore. He tried to persuade Lucina to run away with him, to live a happy life together. She said she wanted to stay by Hakon's side and become the queen. What's good about losing your life to be a queen? As soon as you conceive a dragon child, your whole body will be burned by scorching flames. Do you know how painful it is to die like that? Seeing the girl's confused expression, he discovered an interesting fact. Hakan actually deceived you. He made a human girl his partner. Don't you find that strange? You're going to die anyway. If you can't successfully give birth to an heir, it doesn't matter if you die. He's just using you to save the women of Tyar. But Lucina didn't believe his one-sided words. She decided to go ask Hakan directly. Meanwhile, his mother suddenly lost control of her emotions and raised a sharp stone, violently stabbing it into his heart. "You scourge! Not only did you kill your brother, but you also stole his throne!" Until his mother was dragged away. Her unspeakable curses still rang in his ears. He had always thought his mother went mad because she couldn't bear his brother's death. Little did he know this episode was orchestrated by Garrett. He refused the servant's treatment. Feeling low, he just wanted to be alone. At this moment, Lucina found him. Just as she was about to ask, she noticed his wounds. How did you get hurt? Need to treat the wound?" Because she was too nervous, she began to stutter, but he wasn't in the mood to chat with her now. "The wound is bleeding. It needs treatment," she said, reaching out to grab him. Hakan caught her hand. "You go back first. I don't have time to chat with you now." After saying this, he turned and strode away. Lucina crouched on the stairs, feeling dejected. She noticed Hakan's strange behavior today, but didn't know what had happened. Suddenly, a man's voice came from in front of her. "Have you considered my proposal? Judging by your expression, your conversation didn't go well." Hearing this, she buried her head in her arms. "It's none of your business." Despite her cold response, he didn't leave. Instead, he shamelessly sat down beside her. With such powerful healing abilities. "You're still willing to have children for a man who's using you?" She angrily rebuked him for speaking ill of Hakan. "You don't know him at all. Hakan was the first person to seriously listen to me. He even praised me for being cute and beautiful. I can do all these things for you too." As he said this, he moved closer, his face flushing. He started spouting cheesy pickup lines. "Lucina, you're very beautiful and cute from the moment you saved me. You became the holy maiden who redeemed me. I will protect you forever. Be with me." But hearing the same words from him, she didn't feel the same heart-fluttering sensation as with Hakan. She quickly stood up and moved away from Jera. "Hakan is still bleeding. She was really worried. I need to go see how he's doing. The man here is drunk as a skunk, all because his mother stabbed him. Everyone unanimously wants to send her to Fire Valley, but she's his beloved mother. How could he bear to do such a thing? He won't listen to reason. He points his sword at Turan, threatening to cut him down if he doesn't leave." When Lucina arrives, she sees Hakan lying unconscious, his forehead burning hot, at least 90 degrees. Heartbroken, she wipes away the tears from the man's eyes. Even if he's really using her, she doesn't want to see him hurt and bleeding again to save her husband. The saint stops pretending to be foolish. This is also the first time she uses her hidden healing power to treat the man. In his coma, Hakan dreams of falling into the forest with severe injuries 10 years ago. No matter how hard he tries, he can't stand up. Luckily, a little girl appears and saves him. When Hakan wakes up, he finds that the wound on his chest has mysteriously healed. He's very shocked. At this moment, Turan arrives with the priest. They're surprised to find that the king's wound has already healed. He asks everyone with confusion. Only then does he learn that the priest didn't treat him last night, and Turan didn't use holy water to clean his wound either. A wound from a black magic dagger couldn't possibly heal in half a day. Could this be some kind of miracle? Just as everyone is puzzled, Hakan asks the nearby guard, "Who else came to his chamber last night?" "Lady Lucina came last night." So what he saw wasn't a dream. If it was really Lucina who healed him, then she must be the girl who saved him 10 years ago. He can't understand why she deliberately concealed it. Is it because she's afraid of trouble? He never imagined that the savior he had been searching for was right before his eyes. Unable to control his excited heart, he unconsciously comes to her palace door, but the voice from inside makes him pause. It's his mother's voice. It turns out Titi borrowed a book about the dragon race from the priest. It's very beneficial for Lucina, who will become the future queen. If it's a book about dragons, maybe they can find in it the curse about dying after giving birth to dragon babies. But after flipping through a few pages, she realizes she's illiterate. She can't recognize a single word, so she asks Titi nearby. "These are ancient characters used by the dragon race. I can't read them either." Just as the two are in a dilemma, an old lady opens the door and comes in. "Oh my, this is the book I wrote. My Boki learned to read through this book." Lucina looks at her with admiration, surprised that the old lady is so capable. "Watch carefully, I'll teach you. Didn't I tell you? Soon you'll be able to read like your brother." Is he dreaming? How could his mother smile so kindly, and even gently call him by his nickname, Adu? "My name is Lucina, not Boki. Why are you looking for someone called Boki?" At this moment, Hakan suddenly jumps out and interrupts them, confused. Why is his imprisoned mother appearing here? Lucina explains to him. It's the old lady teaching her to read. She's the one who helped her at the last banquet, but she seems to be looking for someone. The old lady hears Hakan's name and seems to come to her senses. "That's right, Hakan. I've been looking for you. How could I have hurt you?" she says with teary eyes, lowering her head in guilt. Who knew that the next moment her eyes would gradually lose consciousness? Meanwhile, Garrett receives news. The old lady is now with the king. It's the perfect opportunity to act, so she threatens Jarrett to take action, but he's unwilling to cast black magic on Adair again. She's already mentally unstable. Doing this might cause her to never wake up again. She's the one who opposes Hakan and my remarriage. I absolutely won't let her off easily. She finishes with a hard kick at him. If you don't want to see her die immediately, do as I say. Forced, he tremblingly drops a drop of black blood onto the magic array. The black magic curse is immediately activated. Looking at Lucina before him, her eyes lose focus and fall into an illusion. She sees a black-haired, white-haired woman drawing a bow, attempting to harm her son. Suddenly enraged, she rushes towards Lucina like a madwoman. Die! His wife's face is disfigured, and the one who did it is his own mother. Hakan is completely devastated. He could tolerate his mother hurting him, but he can't bear her harming Lucina in the slightest. He never thought the old lady who was fine just now would mistake Lucina for the black-haired witch, imagining her drawing a bow to kill his son to protect her son. She raises the feather blade and charges forward with all her might. At the critical moment, fortunately, Hakan behind her stops her. He hurriedly catches his falling wife full of worry about her condition, but her cheek is still scratched. Seeing this, the man is heartbroken. You poisonous woman who hurt my son! I'll kill you to avenge him. His mother still can't stop cursing. His anger suddenly surges in his heart. Isn't hurting me enough? Even though she stabbed him yesterday, he still continued to respect and tolerate her. But now she won't even spare the person he loves most. Hakan's rationality finally breaks completely. Guards, take the criminal to Fire Valley for the crimes of attacking me and hurting my consort. She must be severely punished. This is the first time she's seen Hakan hurt and crying. He composes himself and turns to instruct Titi to call the priest to treat Lucina. He promises her that this will never happen again. Afterwards, Hakan issues a gag order. From now on, all records of the criminal Adair will be sealed. It's forbidden to talk about her. Violators will be severely punished. However, Jera wakes up from the spell-induced coma and overhears the maid's gossip. Realizing something big has happened in the palace, he tries to get information from them about what exactly happened while he was unconscious. The maid replies that the king has issued a gag order, then hurriedly flees in fear, leaving him completely confused. Suddenly, a pair of pitch-black hands grabs his clothes. I have something to ask you. It turns out to be Lucina. So, the two find a secluded spot where no one is around. Do you know who the woman Hakan ordered to be sent to Fire Valley is? She had Titi go inquire about it. But due to the gag order, they learned nothing. He hadn't given it much thought. What was Fire Valley again? Suddenly remembering something, he becomes very excited. Could Hakan have sent Lady Adair to Fire Valley? She doesn't know who Adair is. She just heard that a woman was sent there. Hearing this, he's thunderstruck. Because of what he did, Adair will be subjected to fire punishment. Unease and guilt fill his heart. He was about to tell Lucina, when he's interrupted by a man who suddenly appears. What are you doing to my consort? Seeing this scene, his face turns from black to pale with anger. The two of them are startled. Jera stutters. That... Unexpectedly, the other man strides forward and grabs his collar. Like picking up a little chick. "You dare lay hands on my consort? You must be tired of living. If there's a next time..." Lucina hurriedly steps forward to stop the enraged man. "It's not what you think." Looking at the person who almost lost his life, she tells him to go back first. She needs to talk with Hakan, after he respectfully retreats. "You ask what we were just talking about? It's about dying if you sleep with a dragon. To protect Tyar's woman. So you kidnapped me to be a scapegoat. Sleeping with a dragon will lead to death. That's why the Dragon King never dared to tell his wife, afraid she would really leave him if she knew." But Lucina finally learns this secret, mistakenly thinking Hakan chose to kidnap her as a scapegoat to protect Tyar's woman. He tries his best to explain to Lucina that he never intended to hide it. But when he sees his wife crying with a trembling voice, stopping her from sobbing and wiping her tears, it makes his heart ache even more. This is the first time he's seen his wife cry so sadly. At a loss, not knowing how to comfort her, Lucina avoids his outstretched hand. "I don't want to talk to you right now," she says and runs away crying. He doesn't even have the courage to chase after her. He can only watch her walk away. He's already used to women fleeing from him, but being rejected by her causes unbearable pain in his heart. Lucina is the first person to smile brightly at him, willing to get close to him, bringing him warmth. It turns out he has unknowingly fallen deeply in love with her. Lucina runs out crying, while Jera has been waiting outside. He directly says that Adair, who was sent to Fire Valley, is Hakan's birth mother. Although her life isn't in immediate danger, her old and frail body won't last long. He knows how to enter Fire Valley and plans to team up with Lucina to rescue Adair. He hands her a key. He'll cast a spell on the guards at the door, making them fall asleep. Then you can sneak in. Outside Fire Valley, Lucina peeks around cautiously. The little fairy who followed learns that she's about to break into jail and rescue someone. "Are you crazy? What if you encounter danger, risking your life for an old lady you've only met a few times? She's doing this for Hakan's sake. Although she resents him for hiding the truth, she can't bear to see him fall into regret." She takes out a bag of honey-coated peanuts, which convinces the little fairy to help her. At this moment, Jera begins to cast his spell while the guards fall into a deep sleep. Lucina and the fairy successfully slip inside, but the further they go, the hotter it gets. The 90-degree temperature quickly leaves them drenched in sweat. Suddenly, the monster in front startles them, but it has already been put to sleep by Jera's spell. They carefully walk past the sleeping doorkeeper. Soon they reach the center of Fire Valley. Hakan's mother is imprisoned in a cage, with boiling lava below. She takes out the key and opens the birdcage. Together with the fairy, they successfully bring the old lady out. Not only is her forehead burning at 90 degrees, but she's also unconscious. She doesn't even respond to their calls. She instructs the fairy to use holy water to cool her down, while she uses her healing power to treat her. But even as her energy is almost depleted, the old lady still hasn't woken up. She guesses it might be due to her advanced age. Who knew at this critical moment the doorkeeper would wake up? Jera had mentioned. If the doorkeeper wakes up midway, it means he's lost consciousness due to heart pain. The only way is to blind his eyes with salt. At this moment, the monster charges towards them. Guka quickly casts a spell, successfully entangling its limbs with vines, urging Lucina to hurry, as he can't hold on for long. Unexpectedly, before she can take out the salt, the monster quickly breaks free from the vines. Its huge palm swats at them, sending them flying like kites. Having just depleted her healing power, she feels dizzy. Suddenly, a giant green claw comes at her. She thinks this might be the end, but at the last second, the man descends like a superhero to save his wife. He single-handedly defeats the monster. "Big guy, go back to your position." Hearing the king's command, the fierce monster obediently turns back. The man turns to scold Lucina. She shouldn't have come to such a dangerous place to save someone. If anything happens to your mother, you'll definitely regret it. She suddenly feels dizzy and stumbles. The next second, Hakan quickly catches his fainting wife. At this moment, his mother wakes up, but mistakes him for Hakan's brother. "Lakai, I've been waiting for you. Quickly take Boki away. She hands him a red doll. It's too hot here. Quickly take your brother away. He's stunned. His mother clearly doesn't love him. Why is she so concerned about his safety? Suddenly, the doll is pushed into his arms. As he stares at the object in his hands, he remembers a childhood scene. This is a gift from Mom. Why don't you give it a name? Let's call it Boki. This name was given when you were still in Mom's belly. Lakai, what are you hesitating for? His mother's voice interrupts his memories. Mom will find her own way out. Quickly take your consort and brother out. If anything happens to Boki, Mom doesn't want to live alone either. No matter what happens, protect your brother first. At this moment, he finally understands. His mother loves him. It turns out his brother was keeping a promise to their mother. That's why he protected him at the cost of his own life. Guilt instantly floods his heart. Regretful tears roll down his cheeks. When she sees her son's tears, she suddenly comes to her senses, finally recognizing that the person before her is Haken. I'm sorry, child. Mom's mind is always unclear. I didn't even recognize my own son. The misunderstanding of many years is resolved. Mother and son tightly embrace, experiencing this moment of warmth. Meanwhile, Garrett receives news. Adair is alive and out of Fire Valley, and has reconciled with the king. She'll stay in the palace to live out her old age. The plan has failed. She's almost furious to the point of internal injury. Lucina's body recovers quickly. Haken sincerely thanks her. If it weren't for you saving my mother, I would have regretted it for life. Even now, when he thinks about it, his hands still tremble uncontrollably. She comfortingly holds the man's small hand, gently saying a few words of comfort. He hugs his wife tightly, telling her not to do such dangerous things again. If I lose you, I'll fall into the abyss too. Through this incident, she realizes, although I hate that you hid things from me, I still don't want to see you sad, even if it means risking my life. I just want you to be safe and sound. Hearing his wife's heartfelt confession, the man is very moved, but when he hears her say she wants to bear dragon babies for him, his jaw drops in shock. What did you say? Do you know what that means? She understands that mothers may face life-threatening dangers during childbirth. Adair and Garrett were able to safely give birth to dragon babies, and with her healing power, she might have an even easier time than others. This time she's determined, no matter what, she wants to give birth to dragon babies and become the queen. Ignoring Haken's earnest persuasion, she pushes the man down and pounces on him fiercely. Then she actively seals his lips with a kiss. She pounces on the Dragon King. It turns out it's to give birth to 99 dragon babies. As soon as she puts her hand on him, he's so scared his face turns red. Lucina is very satisfied. Next is the belt. With just a light pull, he's so startled he jumps up. Wait a minute! With just a light pull, she pounces on him again. While Haken is immersed in this sweet atmosphere, he almost loses his rationality. Trying hard to resist, he pushes her away. Darling, you can't be so reckless. You could die. Lucina tells him she's already prepared, but Haken isn't prepared to lose her, just because he saw her in danger in Fire Valley that time. He can't express how scared he was. I don't even dare to think. If I lose you, I'll go crazy. Please, you must cherish your own life. She hesitates whether to tell Haken that she possesses healing power. After weighing the options, she still can't bring herself to say it. But you need guardian dragons. I don't want anyone other than me to bear your children. Haken promises it will only be her from now on, but he's very worried about her physical condition now. After all, she fainted several times before, judging by the fact that she fainted just from using a lot of healing power. Maybe her body isn't in good condition. Through the priest's examination, Lucina is just malnourished, nothing serious. With proper nutrition intake, she can be nursed back to health. After the priest leaves, Haken asks if she had a difficult childhood. She hesitates for a moment, finally revealing her background. The Baroness is not her birth mother. She's just an illegitimate child, but fearing he'd cancel their marriage if he knew the truth. So she told a lie. The man listens with eyes full of heartache. He pulls his wife into an embrace, promising her, "As long as you don't reject me, I will never leave you," and he apologizes to her. "I was afraid you'd leave me if you knew about the risks of dragon childbirth, so I kept quiet about it all along. From today on, I won't hide anything from you anymore." The young couple confess the secrets hidden in their hearts. Unable to control themselves, they embrace again, kissing before he always misunderstood that his mother didn't love him. Thanks to Lucina, they resolved the misunderstanding of many years. "Well, you can put me down now." But the man insists on carrying his wife. "Your body is weak and can't be tired." Meanwhile, Hakon's mother wakes up, recalling the visions that appeared in her mind earlier. She realizes she's been under the control of a black magic curse all this time. Quickly, "Call Hakon here, I have something important to tell him." Receiving news of his mother's awakening. The couple rushes to the side palace. Unexpectedly, his mother quickly falls asleep again. They're a step too late, because Garrett arrived before them holding an empty bottle of medicine she just drank. She informs Hakon that Adair needs some time to fully recover, so she wants to take her to her room to fulfill her duty as a daughter-in-law. Lucina volunteers to help take care of Adair, but she's scolded by Garrett. Taking care of the Queen Mother is Tyre's tradition, and you not only lack status, you don't know any etiquette either. Hakon puts his arm around his wife's shoulder, coldly looking at Garrett. The rival openly bullies the saint, but Hakon protects his wife fiercely, lovingly embracing his wife. "When Lucina bears my child, she'll be Tyar's queen. You should observe etiquette with her now. She can only hold back and force a smile." "Of course." The man turns and whispers gently to Lucina. Though she's jealous to the point of madness, she doesn't dare act rashly anymore. Even on the way back, Hakon keeps carrying her without letting go, making her very embarrassed and unable to face it, just because he thinks his wife's body is weak and can't be tired from walking. Fortunately, a subordinate comes to report. The ministers are all waiting for him to start the meeting. Only then does he put her down, reluctantly parting from her. As soon as Hakon leaves, Jera seizes the opportunity to come over. The two sit on the steps chatting, concerned about each other's physical condition. He learns that Lucina fainted last time from using too much healing power. This is the first time he's heard that holy power has side effects. He tells her to keep this secret. "Don't let anyone know she has healing power. Otherwise, those people will swarm toward you. If I tell Hakon, he'll protect me, right? He'll certainly cherish you very much." With healing power, the chances of safely giving birth to dragon babies are higher. As long as she becomes queen, he'll be forced by his sister to harm people again. So we can't let people discover her healing power, especially Hakon. Don't believe his sweet words. If he has to choose, he'll definitely choose Tyar. But Lucina doesn't believe he's that kind of person. He might take you to the battlefield. After all, healing power is very useful on the battlefield. However, she's willing to go to the battlefield with Hakon. He doesn't understand why she likes that man so much, wondering if Lucina had met him first. Would she have fallen in love with him instead? The girl asks why he just made that expression. He realizes his absurd thoughts. Panicking, he changes the subject. Hakon said he wants me to learn the common language. But I can't read. I'm afraid if others know, they'll laugh at me for being illiterate. So I want to find a teacher. This is a rare opportunity to get close to her. So he volunteers. "How about I teach you?" Titi is very happy to hear this news. Jera has been fluent in various languages since childhood. She envies Lucina for being able to learn from him. She sees Titi's eagerness and invites her to join. That's great. Jera has just returned to the side palace when he sees his sister bringing Adair back. Of course, the Queen Mother should be cared for by the former queen. This is the palace etiquette. Why has my sister suddenly decided to fulfill her duty as a daughter-in-law after 10 years? Because Adair has regained her senses. She wants to tell Hakon about the black magic sorcerer in the palace. Luckily, I stopped her in time. I didn't expect the old lady to develop antibodies. But I've made new medicine, a sedative specially for senile old people. Once taken, they'll fall asleep, unable to think deeply. His heart sinks. The black magic used on Adair is planned to be used on another target. Hearing this, he's even more startled. Change to whom? Of course, that stinking girl Lucina. His wife cuddling with another man. He catches them in the act, suddenly feeling like he's been cheated on. What exactly have you two been doing behind my back? Jira is giving lessons to both Lucina and Titi. Surprisingly, Titi is the quickest learner, while Lucina only answers 1 out of 10 questions correctly, considering it's her first time learning to read. She's already made great progress. Titi quickly comforts the dejected Lucina. He's been fluent in various languages since childhood. He confidently promises Lucina will learn the common language in 2 months. Unexpectedly, at this moment, something gets in her eye. She can't open it. Noticing this, he quickly gets up to check. Don't rub it. You'll hurt your eye, he says, grabbing her hand that's rubbing her eye, leaning in to examine her eye. Who knew this scene would be witnessed by the man behind them, thinking they're doing something indescribable, like a bolt from the blue. His face turns from black to white with anger. What exactly are you two doing? Seeing Hakan angrily walking towards them, the two are startled and at a loss, instantly recalling the scene of Hakan beating him last time I got something in my eye. That, due to her nervousness, she explains incoherently. Fortunately, Titi is there to act as a translator, conveying the correct meaning to Hakan. This comical scene stuns both men. Her black little hands grab his clothes and she buries herself in his embrace. You've always been the one I like, so don't misunderstand my relationship with others. Hearing his wife's sincere confession, his gloom instantly vanishes. He lovingly strokes her hair. It's fine if you don't know something, just learn it. You even found a smart teacher to teach you. You've done well. He turns to ask Jira if he can teach them both well, promising they'll learn the common language in a month at the latest. You may be physically weak and useless and have a sneaky and cunning personality, but you're the smartest in the palace, unmatched by anyone, so I'll entrust Lucina's studies to you. Hearing the king's words that sound like both praise and insult, he's truly terrified. He doesn't even dare resist when the king forcefully grips his hand in retaliation. If you dare touch Lucina again, you're dead. Hearing Hakan's fierce warning, he breaks out in a cold sweat, but when facing his wife, he immediately changes his expression, as if the two have a good relationship. He picks her up in front of the other men, smugly walking past Jira. Back in the palace, Hakan tells her the results of her physical examination. Although she's malnourished, strangely, her recovery ability is several times better than others. She's made it this far thanks to her healing power. The priest has prescribed medicine to restore your energy. In 2 months, it'll be my prosperous period. Now I'm also starting to take medicine and abstain. She's curious about what the prosperous period is. It turns out to be the best time for dragons to breed offspring. At that time, the fire energy is especially strong, so he needs to take medicine to regulate it. We'll consider consummating our marriage then. After saying this, he stands up to leave. Unexpectedly, a small hand grabs him. Abstinence. To what extent? Is just sleeping together not allowed either? He blushes, not knowing how to answer. Lucina pouts, not wanting to sleep alone for 2 months. She wants Hakan to keep her company. He finally gives in to his wife and agrees. But he soon regrets this decision. It's the couple's first time sharing a bed. The man just wants to sleep innocently, but his wife isn't behaving at all. She's freely teasing him, not only pouncing into his arms, but even reaching out to hook his fingers. Can I hold your hand? Oh, of course you can. The man endures, his face red and steaming, while Lucina is oblivious. After holding his hand, she keeps touching it. The body contact further fans the flames, but it's not over yet. She clutches the blanket and asks softly, Then, kissing is okay too, right? His wife's bold question stuns him before he can react. Lucina quickly leans in. His wife's sweet, soft lips almost make him lose control. He mentally chants, No, no, no. But he still can't resist her enthusiasm, immersed in this tenderness because of the approaching prosperous period. His desire is now several times stronger than usual, driving him to pin Lucina down, looking at her pure eyes like moonlight. Rationality finally triumphs over desire. He quickly jumps off the bed away from her. Let's sleep in separate rooms for these 2 months. It's better for both of us. The fire energy is strongest during the prosperous period, to avoid hurting Lucina. He can only do this. Even kissing is forbidden. What? Even this little pleasure is taken away. What about holding hands? That's not allowed either, she protests. Are we just going to look at each other's faces for 2 months? Yes, that's the only way we can safely get through this. She doesn't want that. If kissing and holding hands aren't allowed, what's the point? Seeing his wife crying with tears streaming down, Hakan can't bear it. Then, you can tie me up, he says, rummaging around, handing her a bundle of rope. After you tie me up, you can do whatever you want. Lucina wraps the rope around his hands 99 times, confirming it's tied securely and won't easily come loose. Is this okay now? Getting his consent. She finally starts doing as she pleases. But with any physical contact, he finds it hard to bear. Not only is his breathing heavy, but his heart is beating faster and faster, just as Lucina regretfully thinks it's over. Unexpectedly, the man suddenly breaks free from the ropes and pounces on her, realizing he's lost control. He hurriedly jumps up. Get me iron chains, the kind that even a dragon can't break? This makes her burst into silvery laughter. Hakan is fuming. I'm about to die from holding back, and you're still laughing. Meanwhile, Garrett is forcing her brother to cast a black magic curse on Hakan. She heard from the priest that Hakan's prosperous period is coming soon. During this time, he'll be quite unstable. While his fire energy is strong, he'll also be more irritable, even with medication to control it. An accident during intercourse would be perfectly normal, then she can replace Lucina as queen. This is the last time you'll help your sister. Afterwards, you can leave the palace and go wherever you want. This is a chance to escape his sister's shadow, but he thinks of a better plan. One that won't hurt Lucina, but will separate them. So this time we'll change the curse method. This candle is made with my blood, as long as it's used, even if I lose consciousness from heart pain. The curse will still be effective. Then why didn't you use it before? He leaned down and told a dark secret. Garrett smiled at that. To break up the young couple, the wicked sister-in-law teamed up with her brother. They tampered with Hakan's room, aiming to make him hallucinate and despise Lucina. This way, the sister could become the queen, and the brother could get the girl he desired. A maid brought Hakan medicine to ease his prosperous period. He drank it, thinking he'd be more in control today. He fidgeted with the vibrant, fragrant flowers on the table, sure that Lucina would love them. Little did he know, the lit candle nearby was cursed, Jera's handiwork. Puka, the little fairy, learned that last night, to practice abstinence. Hakan had chained himself up to sleep. He couldn't help but roll on the floor laughing, because Lucina possessed the earth's essence, so she appeared physically weak. If she bore Hakan's fire-natured dragon child, her essence would stabilize. Really? She sat up excitedly. But during pregnancy, her healing power would protect the baby, so she couldn't use it temporarily. It would return after giving birth. Why didn't you tell me earlier? She angrily punched the little fairy. You didn't ask. Now she wanted to tell Hakan about her healing power. He wouldn't need to take that bitter medicine anymore. She arrived at his room. Hakan, I have something to tell you. But she didn't notice the man's unusual state today. As soon as he saw the person he loved, the black curse activated immediately. He roughly grabbed her delicate hand. She instantly felt the pain in her wrist, wondering why he'd lost his usual gentleness. Before she could react, he pressed his lips to hers. His behavior made her tremble to the point of suffocation. Hakan quickly came to his senses. He struggled not to harm Lucina. Seeing his wife fearfully backing away, he instantly realized his abnormal state. To avoid hurting her, I'm not feeling well today. Let's not sleep together tonight. He didn't understand what was wrong today. Why did he suddenly do something to hurt Lucina? Was it because as the prosperous period approached, his fire became more intense and harder to control? She also sensed that Hakan was very strange just now. It's just a pity she couldn't tell him the good news. Seeing her tossing and turning, unable to sleep, Titi suggested she go soak in the hot springs. It would help her sleep. She emerged from the water with delight. Titi sat on the shore, applauding. "You're so good at diving. I can swim too. Want to see?" She then demonstrated her dog paddle-style splashing. "Like a little puppy. So cute." Meanwhile, Hakan decided to soak in the holy water to calm his fire. He happened to see Lucina there. His wife's radiant, sweet smile was still so beautiful. Even soaked in water, she was still as beautiful as a painting. Just as his heart started racing, a black mist enveloped him. It was Jera secretly casting the black curse. As long as this candle was used, negative hallucinations would occur in front of the loved one. At first it was very weak, even difficult to notice. But as time passed, the illusions would become clearer and clearer. Just now it was clearly Lucina and Titi, but it turned into her embracing Jera. Seeing this scene, his blood boiled. He gripped the doorframe so hard it creaked, unable to hold back any longer. He rushed to her side, fuming. His wife was clearly smiling at him, but the next second she was embracing another man. He was furious to the point of madness. It turned out all this was Jera casting a black curse on Hakan from behind, aiming to break up this loving couple. Under the influence of the illusion, he would unconsciously grow to despise Lucina. Over time, their relationship would naturally fall apart, and the desperate woman would surely fall into his arms. When Hakan saw his wife with Jera, he angrily rushed to confront him. "Ha! Hakan?" Lucina's voice awakened his senses. He was completely stunned, unable to believe what he had just done. She asked with concern, "What's wrong?" "No, nothing. I thought you might have fallen into the water, so I rushed over," he said, avoiding her worried gaze. She had wanted to tell Hakan about her healing power, but was interrupted by him. "I'm too tired today. Let's talk about it later." He was puzzled by his abnormal emotional changes. Just seeing Lucina made him want to get angry. He kept seeing those unpleasant images, as if they were real. The next day in class, Lucina was constantly distracted. Jera noticed this and first sent Titi to the library to fetch books, then asked her in detail what happened with Hakan. She had been holding it in all this time. Suddenly, having someone care, she choked up and tears started flowing. "Did he get angry and hit you?" He took the opportunity to badmouth Hakan. Lucina, like an angry little bird. "How could he hit me? He's just in a bad mood because the mating season is approaching." Jera suggested they shouldn't meet during this time. "But what if I miss him? You can write letters." "That's true." She immediately started writing freely. She wrote her first letter. After finishing, she gave it to Jera to check. The man looked at it with a puzzled expression. What kind of rubbish is this? But in the end, he said it was perfect, well written, and should be sent as is. Hearing this, she was excited. Hakan still felt something was off lately. He called for a priest to examine him. The result was just the influence of the approaching mating season. The deeper the love, the stronger the reaction. But this result didn't put his mind at ease. After the priest left, a maid brought in Lucina's letter. He was surprised that his wife had written to him. Just as he was about to open it, the maid reminded him the candle had gone out. "Shall I relight it for you, sir?" With his permission, she lit the cursed candle. As soon as he opened the letter, he was stunned. This time it really looked like a dog's scrawl. Although there were many misspellings, it was filled with her thoughts of him. He couldn't help but smile foolishly as he read. As expected of Tayar's top calligrapher, the happiness of love filled his heart. He opened it again to read more. "Every night I think of you. Let me see what you're thinking about." As soon as the candle was lit, the black curse made him hallucinate. "I'm thinking about running away, holding hands with the one I truly love. All those words of love I said to you were lies. I hate and despise you. Even your mother wouldn't truly love a man like you." Those vicious words deeply wounded his heart. He fearfully shouted, "Stop! Shut up!" The guards outside heard the commotion and rushed in to check the situation. When Hakan came to his senses, he found the letter inexplicably torn to pieces. He couldn't remember why he had gotten angry just now. Soon this incident spread throughout the palace. The king had gotten angry and torn up Lucina's letter. Could it be that Jera had altered it for her? Because her deeply loving husband suddenly changed and got angry at her, and even tore up the letter she wrote him with his own hands. Little did she know, all of this was Jera casting a black curse on him behind the scenes. When Lucina learned that her letter had been torn up, she still couldn't believe Haken would get angry over her poor writing. She decided to find him to clear up the misunderstanding. Meanwhile, Haken was troubled by his recent abnormal state, always losing control and getting angry, but forgetting the reason for his anger moments later. He initially thought it was the medicine, but it persisted even after he stopped taking it. What exactly was the problem? Thinking back, the candle in the maid's hand seemed most suspicious. When he was reading Lucina's letter, she had also lit a candle for him. Just as he was about to call the priest to investigate the candle, Lucina came running to find him. "Haken, I have something to tell you." After confirming no one was behind her, she thought it would be safer to talk in the bedroom. Her healing power couldn't be overheard by others. Though unsure what she wanted to say, he followed her lead. "I want to tell you that I have healing powers. You don't need to take medicine for the mating season anymore." As soon as he saw Lucina, the black magic took effect. The man who was fine just a moment ago suddenly turned gloomy. She had thought Haken would be happy to learn about her healing power. The man's sudden change in expression puzzled her. The black curse quickly made him have negative hallucinations about Lucina. He saw her easily whispering in Jera's ear, "I have healing powers. I can cure your illness." Seeing this, the man was furious. He glared at her angrily. "You said you only loved me. It was all lies. When did she lie?" She felt his state was very abnormal. Besides, it was just the two of them here. "Haken, calm down." However, the image of them being intimate and betraying him kept haunting his mind. The other person not only took away the woman he loved most, but also provoked him with a victorious, taunting gaze. His wounded pride finally snapped. In anger, he lunged at Jera. Lucina watched in horror as the man charged towards her. Jera, worried Haken might hurt Lucina, had followed them. Just then he heard Lucina's scream from the room. What he feared had happened. Guilt instantly surged through him. He rushed in to check the situation. He saw her unconscious on the floor. To wake her husband from the hallucination, she once again used her sacred healing power. The man quickly came to his senses, but Lucina collapsed from exhaustion. Affected by the black curse, he had hallucinated, mistakenly thinking his wife had betrayed him. He angrily lunged to teach that arrogant man a lesson, not realizing he was directly hurting Lucina. When Jera arrived, he found her already on the floor. He quickly helped her up to check her condition. "I don't know why Haken became so strange. If I use my healing power, can I make her feel better? Using sacred power might work, but with Haken's current state, Lucina would be in danger by his side." Seeing the two embracing, the man raged. "How dare you betray me? I'll punish you both." He lost control and grabbed Jera, wanting to kill him. Seeing this, she was so anxious that tears welled up in her eyes. "If this fight continues, both will be in danger. It might not work, but I have to try. Haken, please, wake up." Finally, she used all her healing power on him. Haken felt a cool sensation, instantly breaking through the darkness that had enveloped him, gradually bringing him back to clarity. He slowly lowered his hand, gripping Jera's collar. It actually worked. She immediately showed a joyful smile. But the next second, she fainted from exhaustion. The man caught his falling wife. He looked at the woman in his arms with eyes full of heartache, wondering if Lucina had just helped him. Fortunately, she had only fainted and wasn't in mortal danger. He carried his wife back to their room. Just after he left, a maid took advantage of the moment to release a carrier pigeon with a message. The candles Haken had asked the priest to investigate indeed contained evil spells. He ordered those candles to be disposed of immediately. He went to the separate palace to check on the unconscious Lucina. He still blamed himself for hurting her because of the curse, which led to her injury. He hoped she would wake up soon so he could ask for her forgiveness. But just at that moment, "Your Majesty, Something terrible has happened. The young dragons are under attack. He rushed over with his subordinates. However, the enemy didn't intend to launch a large-scale attack. He realized they had fallen for the enemy's diversion tactic. It's a trap. Their target is the capital. Just as he was about to return, a knight in black armor appeared. Little Spearhead, after 10 years, we meet again. It was that woman's voice. I see you still remember how I killed your brother. Hatred surged through him. Gripping his spear, he angrily charged at her. I'll take your head to avenge my brother. The two fought fiercely for 300 rounds. Finally, he stabbed her with his sword. Thinking the battle was over, he was unexpectedly ambushed by her. A sharp pain struck him. Blood instantly spurted from his mouth. He looked at this scene in disbelief. Meanwhile, Lucina finally woke up. She learned from Titi that Håkon had gone to protect the young dragons. Worried, she quickly ran outside. Just then, the accompanying troops returned. But after searching, the person she was looking for wasn't there. She hurriedly asked Turan, "Where did Håkon go? The king was hit by a poisoned arrow while fighting the dragon slayer. He's just been sent to the Holy Land for treatment." This time he bravely stood up. "Let me go. I can definitely heal Håkon." To save the dying dragon, she no longer hid her true power. She used her powerful healing ability to treat his wounds. She just didn't expect the giant dragon she had just saved to turn into her husband. Lucina followed the aura into the Holy Land. She thought she would find the severely wounded Håkon, but what met her eyes was an enormous dragon. She immediately recognized it as the dragon she had saved as a child. At this moment, he opened his eyes. "Do you remember me? We met 10 years ago. I helped heal your wounds. Can you help me find my husband?" Håkon instantly remembered she was the little girl who saved him 10 years ago. He hadn't realized his lifesaver he'd been searching for was his wife by his side. He excitedly tried to get up, but his wound suddenly burst open. Seeing this, Lucina quickly used her healing power on him. As the cool sensation spread, the wound began to heal rapidly. Unexpectedly, the giant dragon transformed into human form. Lucina heard a familiar voice. She quickly looked up. How was Håkon here? She wondered where the dragon had gone. The man suddenly held her tightly in his arms. "Just like 10 years ago, you saved me." She finally realized that dragon was Håkon. Lucina had saved him twice. But he felt guilty for hurting her under the black curse. "I don't dare hope for your forgiveness, but please give me a chance to atone." So Håkon's recent personality change wasn't his true self. She comforted him. "It's okay. You couldn't control yourself under the curse. I now have healing powers. I can safely give birth to our child, so you don't need to endure for my sake anymore." Happiness came too suddenly. He was stunned. Seeing his wife's sweet, radiant smile, happiness filled his heart like warm sunshine. The loving couple couldn't help but embrace and kiss. Just as Håkon carried Lucina out of the sanctuary, he eagerly ordered Turan to decorate his chamber back at the palace, hinting to his wife that they would make up for lost time. Realizing what she meant, she blushed. Titi learned they would spend their first night together and decided to dress her up nicely. With her efforts, Lucina looked radiant tonight. However, just outside Håkon's chamber, thinking of what was about to happen, her heart raced nervously. Finally, she gathered her courage and entered. The man had been sitting on the bed waiting for his wife's arrival. She approached Håkon, too shy to look at him. Suddenly, a pair of large hands embraced her slender waist, pulling her to sit on his lap. "Are you nervous?" She honestly replied. "A little bit." The man gazed at his beloved with tender affection. Lucina urged him to hurry up. "Stop dawdling." Seeing his wife so eager, he couldn't help but chuckle. Finally, he laid her down. He slowly approached. The moment their lips met, love surged between them like a tidal wave. Can we conceive a dragon child, even when it's not Håkon's mating season? Of course, it's just more likely during the mating season. Confirming his wife was comfortable, he finally relaxed. The next morning, Håkon carried Lucina out of the room. Hulan and Titi were so moved they had tears in their eyes. They had finally waited for this moment. He asked where the king was going. Heiken said his wife was very tired last night, so he was taking her to soak in the hot springs to relax. This made Lucina blush. Damn it, how could he say it so directly? The couple's first night sleeping together, and the next day his wife immediately conceived a dragon child. Heiken excitedly pulled her into his arms. "We finally have a child!" Just now, Lucina noticed a wound on Heiken's face. She wanted to use her healing power to treat him, but surprisingly it didn't work. They were both stunned, remembering Puka once said that if she got pregnant, her healing power would temporarily protect the dragon child. Could it be they were having a baby? Sure enough, after the priest's examination, it was confirmed she was carrying a dragon offspring. Touching her flat belly, it was miraculous that it held her and Hawken's child. Just as she wanted to share the joy with her husband, the man excitedly pulled her into his arms and looked at her adoringly. "What does my wife want? Just tell me, be it gold or jewels, I'll fulfill all your wishes." His wife wanted to eat fruit, so he sent mountains of various fruits. "Is it that whatever I say I want, you'll bring a huge pile?" Wanting to express his love for his wife, this was far from enough. He personally picked a grape and coaxed her. "My wife needs to eat more to grow plump and fair," he said as he held it to her mouth. Without hesitation, she ate the grape he offered. Happiness filled her heart. This dog food was eaten by the single little fairy nearby. The little fairy reminded Lucina that she couldn't use her healing power while pregnant. But what if Heiken goes to battle and gets injured? "I heard the sacred object of the Brienne Camel Church can repel black magic arrows. That's it. If the Camel Church is willing to help, both Heiken and Tayar will be safe." She told Haken this news. But rumor has it the Holy Emperor is a stubborn and rigid person. He definitely won't help Tayar. If I reveal to the Holy Emperor that I have healing powers, maybe he'll be interested in me? They're clearly unfriendly to Tayar. He didn't understand why she was so insistent on seeking their help. She was actually worried about Haken's safety. What if the Dragon Slayers use black magic arrows to hurt you? So it was all for him. His wife's large teardrops fell on his heart. At this moment, his heart melted. He agreed to send a message to the Camel Church. "Then I'll write to the Holy Emperor too. That way he'll pay more attention to this matter." He lovingly patted his wife's head. "All right, I'll use reason to persuade them, and you'll use emotion to move them." Meanwhile, Garrett received news that Lucina not only spent her first night with Haken unharmed, but also successfully conceived a dragon child. She was jealous to the point of madness. To get rid of her quickly, she planned to frame Lucina for casting the black curse on Haken. But one maid was a spy. She took advantage of the moment to release a carrier pigeon with a message, and the recipient was the dragon slayer who had injured Haken. When the helmet was removed, the face was very similar to Lucina's. The old couple's first night together, and his wife immediately conceived his dragon child. From then on, Haken stuck to her every day. They embraced sweetly as he taught her how to write letters. He praised her writing skills, saying they had improved a lot. At this, she pouted. "Was my writing that bad before?" The man, with strong survival instincts, quickly comforted his wife. "I meant your writing was super great before, and now it's even better." Hearing her husband's flattery, she immediately smiled. She wrote even more enthusiastically. But soon after, the restless man kept nuzzling her from behind. He deeply inhaled his wife's scent. It was all his wife's fault for looking so charming when focused, nearly making him lose control. "Let's stop writing for now. Let's spend some time together." "No way. We need to finish the letter and send it to the Holy Emperor quickly." Hearing his wife's firm rejection, Haken immediately drooped his head. He could only compromise, asking her to chat with him while writing. Caressing her belly, he marveled that their love had created a child inside. He asked a question most couples would. "Do you prefer a boy or a girl?" But Lucina asked him instead. "Haken hopes this baby is a girl. After all, our dragon daughters are all adored and cherished, because it's rare for dragons to have daughters. But for her, boy or girl doesn't matter. She just hopes the dragon child grows up healthy." Haken agreed with her words. The young couple both looked forward to hearing their baby dragon's first cry. Then he held her tightly, basking in their happiness. Just at this moment, An inconsiderate woman came to disturb their private time. The man frowned. "Tell her to get lost." But Lucina got up from his lap. "Maybe she has something important to tell you." Since his wife had spoken, he reluctantly let Garrett enter. However, the previously arrogant woman was unprecedentedly respectful to Lucina this time. Probably Haken's warning had taken effect. She said she had something important to tell Haken, so she had to ask Lady Lucina to step out for a moment. Lucina doesn't need to leave. She'll soon be Tyar's queen. Seeing Haken protect her like this, she was nearly mad with jealousy. But she didn't forget to betray her own brother next. She reported that he was the mastermind behind Haken's black curse, throwing all the blame on him. She completely distanced herself from the incident. This was all Jera's doing alone. Arrest him immediately. Lucina looked on in disbelief. Was it really all his doing? No matter how much they tortured him, Jera never implicated Garrett. In the end, Haken could only tell Lucina the truth. He comforted his wife not to be sad. But he had to leave the palace for a week. He really didn't want to be apart from her. He even blamed the elders for pressuring him at the meeting. "Don't worry about me, I can manage a week on my own." But Haken's departure gave Garrett an opportunity to frame Lucina.